What is up, everyone? It's time to make a video. I have been out on the road for the last week or so. I flew down to San Diego, then I walked across the border to Mexico, flew out of Tijuana to Mexico City because I had to see some family that because of some things that have been going on for the last couple of years, I haven't been able to see in a couple of years. I think exactly 2 years, almost to the date. So I just wanted to make a video. Right now, if you hear a loud fan noise happening in the background right now, that is my computer attempting to crunch proxies for all the video I shot in Mexico City and outside of Mexico City in my family's town where we did Dia de los Muertos, and I'll try to include a little bit of that in this video, but until I get that new MacBook Pro in hand, which probably won't happen until the end of the month, I'm stuck making proxies. But I did want to make a video this week because I missed making videos. I made like 7 or 8 videos, I think, last month in October. With the holidays kind of starting, I just don't know how many videos I'm gonna be able to make, you know? So I was like, let's try to bang one out today. What could we talk about? And I thought, why not talk a little bit about some lessons learned from doing photography, street photography, and some vlogging, videography in Mexico City, because Mexico is one of the, I think, coolest countries that anyone can visit in the world. I am a little bit biased being Mexican American, but very international city, a ton of culture, a ton of just beautiful landscapes, cityscapes, culture, heritage, tradition, the mixing of peoples. It's fun, it's a great time. Is it just me or is my hair just absolutely wild? My hair is just so nuts. Oh man, my hair is just so terrible. This is why I have to wear a hat all the time, guys. Oh. All right, better. So it's no secret that if you go to Mexico, you are going to want to do some photography, maybe some vlogging, some combination of the both. The first question that I always get about Mexico and Mexico City is it safe? And what neighborhood should I go to if I'm not Mexican? The first answer is, I think, kind of like a non-answer, or is I guess a different way to look at it is I never think of anywhere as safe. I'm always kind of on guard, and don't ever go somewhere and think you're safe. Like, no one is going to make you safe but you, and that is going to require some work. Now, what I can tell you, having been to Mexico City several times, I was not uncomfortable taking my Canon EOS R5, a few lenses, and walking around with them, carrying them around. I was in a group. I was with some family along with a friend who came with me. But as I think the old saying goes, keep your head on a swivel, know your surroundings if you feel like you're being targeted or someone's looking at you. But as of right now, I would say that Mexico, if you are traveling to Mexico City, if you're aware and staying in a neighborhood like Roma, La Condesa, or Polanco, I felt totally comfortable walking around there by myself a couple days during the day, obviously not at night, but even in groups and doing stuff out on Paseo La Reforma and some other parts of those neighborhoods that are just well lit and have stuff going on, police presence, monitoring, just making sure everything's okay. That was pretty nice. We did end up going down to Coyoacan along with, that's like where Frida's house is that she had with Diego Rivera, along with going to Xochimilco. That was totally fine too. We had a blast and everything was quite good, but stay on your guard, be smart. If you have someone, I think the best way to travel to any country is already know someone in country, or if you at least have a friend of a friend, some type of connection, someone who could show you around, especially if you don't speak Spanish, someone who knows the language. And even if you do know Spanish, Mexican Spanish is like, it's its own flavor of Spanish. It's the same way that like English is just a little bit different all around the world, so it doesn't hurt to have someone who is Mexican, who understands the culture and city well, to help take you around. We also did go to the Zocalo and the Bella Artes. How would you say that in English? It's like the Arts Palace, like it's the theater, arts, museum kind of place. We didn't go inside, but the whole area of like the center, like the heartbeat of Mexico City, it was pretty crazy. I would not probably have gone there by myself, but I was with like 5 other people, so it ended up being all right, but it was actually really crowded. We ended up getting out of there because we couldn't get into any restaurants, couldn't get into any buildings because it was just so packed. And then the final thing I'll say about safety is if you are going to Mexico or traveling anywhere, don't open carry your camera. What I mean by this is I actually had my camera with the grip but I like having a backpack so I can conceal it. So if I am in a situation where I feel like, hey, maybe someone's looking at me, or I don't want to be caught gaining any attention while in the city, that can be a great way to ensure that, hey, it's in this beat up black backpack. It's just gonna cause less attention and it's just gonna bring less attention to the fact that you have maybe some expensive photography equipment, video equipment. I will say though, I did see several other people vlogging in the streets of Mexico City, including around the Zocalo area. It can be done, but again, I would go with a group. I wouldn't necessarily go by yourself. Now, getting into lenses, let's talk about the lenses that I brought, the one lens I did not use, and the lens that I used the most. So the three lenses I did bring were Canon's RF 15-35 f2.8. That ended up being the lens that I used the most because I was vlogging, trying to capture stuff around the city, and also just there's tons of architecture, sweeping landscapes, cityscapes all around the city wherever you go. So I found that I pretty much almost never took the 15-35 off for both photo and video. 35 was perfect for a lot of the portraits in that kind of environment, and 15-20-ish was great for a lot of the landscape stuff, things like that. I did bring the RF 50 f1.2 thinking, maybe I will want to do some like really just like sharp, beautiful kind of portrait type stuff. That did not happen. I ended up not even pulling that lens out of my bag the entire trip. I think mostly because it was a shorter trip. We were only going to be in Mexico City a few days. So it was just kind of like run and gun, just keep a lens on the camera and just keep shooting kind of thing. I think if I had been there longer and had planned out some different shots, maybe I would have used the 50, but looking back on it, I probably wouldn't bring it again. And finally, I brought the RF 70-200 f2.8. And this lens is like, every time I bring it, I think, man, this is like probably the biggest lens I own. Do I actually want to bring this thing with me? And I do end up using it. I didn't use it a ton, but the few shots that I were able to get, like street photography shots from up above, also some shots from the Castillo Chapultepec, which is like the big palace that the old Mexican emperors and presidents, and I don't even know what the right term is depending on what season of Mexican government there was, but it's basically a big castle overlooking the city. It's a cool place to go if you haven't been. Shooting with the 70-200 up there was awesome because there's just so many lines and just so much stuff that you could do with it up there. Also, if you get on top of any rooftop bars, hotels, things like that around the Paseo La Reforma area, you'll get a ton of awesome shots. I think next time I would probably only bring the 15-35 because it was so versatile, and while I loved the shots that I got with the 70-200, I probably could have slimmed down my setup even further. It was a little bit heavy carrying around 3 lenses, including the one that was on my body at all times, the R5. So yeah, I'd probably pare down to just using the 15-35. But if you are looking to bring a couple different focal lengths, I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the 70-200 or something similar to that range. Finally, there are 2 things I think you should keep in mind when you're making your edits, or even actually looking at your composition when you're taking certain shots. The first thing to keep in mind is Mexico City, while a very old city, is built on a lake. Buildings are kind of sinking all at different levels. Structures will probably not appear straight. So this can cause some leading lines or structural lines with architecture to not be totally straight. I saw that at Castillo Chapultepec, where I was trying to get certain shots of leading lines and other elements, and just realizing and kind of getting like frustrated, like, wow, why does it feel like nothing is straight in here? And then I remembered that, oh yeah, this whole thing is built on top of a lake bed. And I'm gonna have to use the geometry tool. So if you've never used the geometry tool before in Lightroom or equivalent application, make sure that's something that you feel comfortable with before going out shooting in Mexico City. I think that helped me. Once that all kind of clicked for me out there in the streets, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have to use the geometry tool to fix up a few of these little things to make these photos look just a little bit more pleasing. I think that'll really help you. And the second, and this is really subjective, I mean, all art, all photography, it's all subjective, but It would seem that in a lot of photography stuff right now, one of the trends it feels like in photography, people get to Latin America, Mexico City in particular though, and kind of don't know what to do with the color palette, especially if you're visiting Latin America from outside of Latin America. Your presets might look a little bit weird. It's because things like the stone and cement are gonna reflect different color temperatures of light than if you're in the United States, Canada, Europe, even in some places. That is okay. There is a lot of smog in Mexico City, and that is going to disperse light with a warmer temperature. The lights, the actual like street lights and other things are going to disperse a warmer temperature. The cempasúchil, which is the marigold flower that they use for Dia de los Muertos. I still don't even know if I'm saying that word right. It's been years of saying that word, and I still feel like I blow it all the time. Those flowers, the greenery that comes with them and the stems, that is all gonna be probably a different palette than what you're probably used to shooting if you're coming from outside of Latin America. Don't flip on black and white just because you think, oh, okay, well, I need to surrender this photo, or even worse, like, don't desat your photos from Mexico City. This is just like a PSA from someone who's Mexican and cares a lot about Mexican culture and heritage. I would just encourage anyone who's coming from outside of Mexico City to embrace the palette that's there. Maybe explore or allow Mexico to have you explore what you can do with that palette in a new way. I found that even though I'd made a lot of presets here in the Pacific Northwest, with the thought in mind that I wanted to tune a lot of the colors here to closer to a palette that I've experienced in places like Morelia, Mexico City, Querétaro, I realized that when I got there, I was like, okay, my presets, a lot of them were baked for the PMW and not really going to serve me well for the palette that Mexico City had. Some of them did. Some of them were, I think, exactly what I wanted for the city, and that was awesome. But some of them were just like, okay, yeah, I made this particular preset while I was on a mountain in the state of Montana, which happens to be about 3,000 miles north of Mexico City. Okay, very different color palette, very different environment to be in. And so, okay, this does not work. I would just ask anyone who's going to Mexico City that if you're going there and you haven't been to Latin America, or you haven't established a visual style for that area yet, consider exploring what that could be. Most of you are probably already doing this on your own, but I just wanted to encourage anyone who is going to go there that yeah, it's different materials, different equatorial geography, different people, different colors, different everything. So keep that in mind, take that with a grain of salt. Don't rip the color out of Mexico. Mexico is a beautiful, beautiful city, state, and country. But that explainer may be for another time. With that, thank you so much for watching. My name is Stephen Foster. I'm a Mexican-American contemplative creative, and I'm grateful for all of you who have already subscribed to this channel. If you haven't yet, please do so. Be kind, both in life and in the comments below, and like this video if you like tacos. Everyone should like tacos. I don't think I've met someone who doesn't like tacos yet. So like this video if you like tacos. That seems to be a good deal. Actually, leave a comment down below. If you've been to Mexico City, favorite place that you've done photography, taken photos, vlogging, video, anything. If you haven't been to Mexico City, but you still have hopefully had a taco, leave a comment down below with your favorite taco. That sounds legit, and we will do it again soon. Later. Okay, bonus story. If you stuck around till the end, I wanted to talk about this. As I was going through security at the Mexico City airport to get back to Tijuana, I got stopped by about half a dozen or so security agents and was told that my bag needed to be opened. They pulled everything out, my camera, my lenses, all my filters, everything. Extra batteries, SD cards, you name it. It all came out of the bag. And they kept putting my bag through the scanner multiple times. I have no clue what they were seeing. They're not telling me in English or Spanish what they're looking for, so that's fine. And then finally they get to this, and they pull this, not this particular one, but this out of my bag and say very nicely to me in Spanish that I can't have this. This is just a Peak Design little like Allen wrench hex tool to like pull on and off this like plate, Arca Swiss plate that's on the bottom of my camera usually that has my grip, so I can put it on a tripod. And I just kind of carry one of these around just in case for some reason I need to take that plate off and do something with it. So I was asked if I wanted to check this. No, I have a flight to catch, so I had to abandon this hex tool. So that could be something. I've never been stopped for that before. But this time, this is what the Mexico City airport security decided needed to be abandoned by me. So moral of the story, I think maybe in the future in my check bag, I'll throw any tools or extra stuff in there. I still am gonna keep my camera bodies and lenses with me at all times, but maybe I'll just like put together a little kit pouch or something for my camera and throw that in my check bag. I guess a bonus story. Always keep a filter on your camera. This is my UV filter. I got out of a car late one night. All the cars kind of in Mexico are a little bit, they sell European cars there that are just like a little bit smaller than what you might find in the United States. I was getting out of this like really small car, had my camera on my lap, stupid. Kind of couldn't put it anywhere else because it was just so tight back there. Stood up getting out of the car and just like absolutely wrecked this filter. I don't even know if you can see that, but super thankful that it was just the filter and not any of my lens or camera body or anything. But a good reminder to kind of always keep a filter with you, especially when traveling, because you get put in weird situations and yeah, it can be no fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing your comments down below with your favorite taco and or favorite photography spot in Mexico City.